Hey, how's it going? We are once again on our way to sell coffee and tea, and it's Monday, and I have been having auras. Do you know what auras are? If you don't know, auras are like this kind of visual kind of hallucinations you get, usually kind of in the corners of your vision, and they usually, for a lot of people, they precede migraines. And I was getting auras last night before going to bed, and then like today I haven't had a headache, but my head just doesn't feel quite right. And quite honestly, yesterday at the bike park, my head didn't feel quite right. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's anything I can take to the doctor yet, but yeah, it hasn't gotten bad. I do kind of worry a little bit that I might start getting migraines or the like in the future, because sometimes people will say it'll start with the auras and then eventually you start to get migraines. So we'll see. That'll be an interesting development in my life. I always feel like there's always something going on, but I guess that's kind of part of what it means to be alive as a human on planet Earth. I was alive as a human on planet Earth up at Snow Summit yesterday. It was pretty dang rad because it started raining. It was like sprinkling, so we didn't have hero dirt, okay, but we had good conditions. It was cooler outside. We weren't getting like beaten by the sun, and then there were places where the ground it was a little more tacky, but I think for me a lot of it is just like it sounds really good. I just love like the way it sounds. I mean, I get used to like the way SoCal dirt sounds, that kind of all the time, you know, like you're crinkling some plastic the entire time. So it's nice though to get something a little bit different, and the rain brought it to us yesterday, and there was no lightning. At least the chairs weren't getting shut down due to lightning, and that was really nice. That's always a concern up there when you see the storm clouds coming in, but we didn't have the big cumulonimbus clouds and all that stuff. We didn't have cumulus clouds, so I think that anyway, I feel like when there's more lightning, there's generally more cumulus clouds. You don't know how to do four-way stops. Four-way stops, that's one of my pet peeves. You know, one of my pet peeves with four-way stops is when somebody stops before you do, but they're a full car length behind the little line, and they're like, stop first. And I'm like, yeah, cool, you stopped 5 feet out of the driveway of your house. Doesn't mean you stopped first at the four-way. Anyway, yeah, it was really nice, and there was a bunch of cool stuff that happened. One, you know, the beginning of the day on Sunday. So I'd ridden Saturday, and I had actually had a really chill day because I had just had all the new stuff done to the bike. That I already cover what I had done to the bike. I can do that real quick, but had a whole bunch of new stuff done to the bike. It was pretty much like a different bike, a new bike, and I was just tuning the suspension and even my tire pressures on Saturday. So on Sunday I was planning to like ride, I was planning on hitting 10 ply and doing a lot more like chunky stuff because of the new setup on the bike was like going to be better for all that. But I just wasn't feeling quite right, as I was saying before. Like my brain wasn't feeling great, and so I was just taking it really chill. Preston was up there. I don't know if you know who Preston is, PJ. He was the guy, if you follow the channel long enough and you saw the Mammoth video, he's the guy that was with me a lot of the time, like the entire time in Mammoth. Nice dude. I definitely would travel with him again. But anyway, we went up there and like we were just being super chill, and about, I don't know, just a few runs in, I was just like, I'm feeling kind of tired, I'm riding kind of lazy, I maybe you should shut it down, because that's when you get hurt. So I went to the truck, took my pads off, and was getting ready to just jump back in the truck and drive home, but I was like, something was just telling me like, wasn't time to go yet. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm up here, I'm not gonna ride, so what am I doing? And I can tell you some wild stories, at least one wild story from my past of like, I used to like follow what I called the tug. It's maybe intuition or whatever, but I would, anytime I needed to make a big decision or even just a small decision, I would just listen for a kind of pull in a certain direction. I would consider certain directions and certain decisions, and whatever kind of pulled me there, I would use that as my decision-making process. And I've been trying to cultivate that again, because I never seemed to make a wrong decision back in the day. So back when I was doing that. So something was kind of just telling me to stay. So I ended up going like, well, what can I do? I'll go, I'll put on a hat and glasses and go get a burger. And so I went over there, set my bike down, and then I just like, between setting my bike down and going to the burger, to going to order, like, just people kept coming up to me and then saying like, hey, fan of the channel, like, so that was really cool. And one dynamic I kind of forgot to say is that like, when I was at the truck and I was getting ready to leave, there was also a layer of like sadness, and there's nothing wrong with feeling sad, and I'm not saying that I was trying to get rid of sadness, or that one should try to not feel sadness when you feel it, but I was just feeling sad. So when I was out there and then people started coming up to me, that really just kind of converted into like, oh, this is kind of nice. It's like nice to know that there's people that dig the channel, and there's people that like get something out of the channel. They were like, oh, this really helped me. There was a guy from Spain. He was like, yeah, man. I mean, he couldn't really speak English, but his buddy was interpreting for me a little bit. And he was like stoked because like my Snow Summit video really helped them out. That was really cool. There was a kid who like had seen me multiple times and was all like super fanboying out. I was cracking up. And I thought like, hey, I've got t-shirts in the truck. So I ran back to the truck real quick, grabbed a bag, put a bunch of shirts and stuff and stickers, grabbed some stickers. And then so when I went back, like I was able to like give out like shirts and stickers and stuff. And that was really cool. But then I got my burger and I sat down and I just enjoyed the light drizzle, the cooler temperatures, the the overcast skies up in the mountains as I ate my burger. Chatted a little bit with a few people that came by, and that was really nice. And then I felt pretty good, and I started going back to the truck. I was going to drive home, and then I want to call them kids. They weren't exactly kids, okay? They were, maybe one of them was in their 20s, but they want to say they're at least, at the oldest, they were like late teens. But they were like, they knew me. I feel like I should have known who they were. I think I know who they were. Like, I kind of recognized one or two of them, but they're like, hey man, how's it going? And they're like, gonna get some more laps? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, come on. And I sat there for a second, and then the tug was like, go put your pads on. Let's go get some more laps. And I was like, I guess I'm gonna go get some more laps. And that's what I did. I put my pads on, pulled the bike out, went back down. They were ready to go, and I got quite a few more laps with Morgan, and then Toby and Sebastian. I remember Toby and Sebastian because I rode with them the most. And then the other two guys, Morgan and Bennett. Pretty sure it was Bennett. Anyway, and we had a blast because they were rippers, and I just followed them around, and we sessioned Muscle Beach some and just enjoyed the temperature. We did some Lower Miracle Mile, and just did jumps and stuff. That was cool. And it ended up like being a really a really good day. And it's funny because I've never really done that before. If I go ride, I'd like ride. Maybe I'll take a quick break to get some coffee or like some Greek yogurt or whatever, you know, and just like get a snack. And that's like a 10-minute break. But I don't take like a lunch break, because I always feel like when I do that, I'm like heavy and I don't want to do anything. But yeah, that was one of the very few times I like took a full lunch break and then felt good to ride afterwards. So yeah, following the tug, the tuition, the intuition. I don't know if there's another word for it, but that's what it feels like to me. It feels like something in my core is like pulling me in certain directions. Whistler update. I've purchased my airline tickets. Had I done that last time? I'm going to do this every crew cut. I'm always going to be like, did I tell you this last time? Purchased my airline tickets, and now I'm going to give Sundial Hotel basically until the end of the day, the end of the business day, to get back to me. I'm sure they're like super busy with Crankworks right now, and that's fine, that's cool. But I really need to book a room, so I'm gonna see if I hear from them by the end of the day, and if I don't, then I'm just gonna book a room, and I think I'm gonna book with Ava. And here's what's interesting. When I went to go book with Sundial, it was like $2,000 for a week. $2,000, y'all. And I found a room at the Ava for a little more than half that. And the Ava is apparently like a super nice, man, y'all are dirty, super nice place as well. Maybe it's not as nice, but I mean, it's the first nice, very bike friendly, bike valet kind of place that I heard of. I think they even like lend you GoPros and stuff there if you want. But yeah, so that's my plan. It's gonna be, you know, like $1,200 or something like that for that. So I'm not sure how much this trip is gonna cost altogether. But hopefully I'll be able to expense some of it with Giant. But we'll see. I'm not too worried about that because it's Whistler. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah. In other news, this is really cool. Kelly, I showed Kelly the Snow Valley video and just kind of talked to her about Snow Valley, and then last Friday, she's like getting up, she's like getting ready to go ride. I'm like, where are you going to go to Snow Summit? Because sometimes she does that during the week. She goes to Snow Summit. She's like, no, I'm going to Snow Valley. And I thought that was rad because she had never been to Snow Valley before. She went solo. And I mean, I think my video helped, and I like kind of talked her through like, you know, these are, you know, you hit these trails and whatever. But I think also like, I was just stoked because she has enough confidence in her abilities, and she's comfortable enough just kind of like being out there to like know she can go to a bike park and get around just fine. And she went and rode, and she had fun. She really enjoyed it. She still was like, yeah, if she had to choose, she would go to Snow Summit. And actually she was saying like part of what made going to Snow Valley like cool for her was that she knew she was going to Snow Summit the next day. So that was funny. But I was like stoked on that. Here, let me catalog really quickly what I did, or what the path did for me on the Rain SX. We'll start from the front and work our way back. We upgraded from the grip damper to the grip 2 damper on the fork. We lowered the front of the bike 5 millimeters, and that has made it feel way more balanced. And that grip 2, so good. New seat, shorter cranks. We went from 165 down to 155, which is 5 millimeters shorter than what's on the regular Rain. Shorter cranks. And then in the back, I apparently had put a big old ding in the rim, and I didn't know it. So Zach straightened that out, and then he's loaning / giving me his Cushcore set. I already have a downhill casing on the front tire, so I asked him to just put the Cushcore in the back. So we've got a double down casing in the back with Cushcore in the back, and then the Shimano Z, that's what it was. I think I was trying to tell you this last week, what drivetrain is. It's like a Shimano Z drivetrain, and it's like a 10-speed cassette, and oh, it's so much nicer. It shifts so much better. The clutch is tight, like I'm not hearing as much noise back there. It never drops. Super nice. And then Zach, being as cool as he is, he snuck in little purple nuts and caps on my valve stems, so that kind of matches the bike. So that's really nice. I was stoked on that. I think that's it. I think that was all that was on. Oh yeah, we swapped the shock from the Rain E onto the SX. We swapped those two. So basically the SX went from a DHX2 Performance to a DHX2 Factory, and that feels nicer. But for me, the biggest change is that Grip 2 on the front. I wish I couldn't tell the difference, but I can tell the difference. And here's what's interesting is I've been running a fair bit less pressure in the front. Like before, I was running 65 pounds in the front, and now I've only got like 56. That's a lot of difference, and it's been really plush, but also still pops really good off the jumps. I feel like the bike actually pops more off the jumps now, and yeah, so that's really nice. I just gotta say, if you got a grip damper and you can upgrade to a Grip 2, because a lot of forks you can do that, just the internals, and you don't have to buy a whole new fork, do it. All right, coffee, work, stuff. See you soon.